Let's take a quick call because Tony is an Everton fan. He's phoned in. He says he thinks the crisis at Chelsea is covering up the issues at his club. Good morning to you, Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Good morning, gentlemen. A great show as usual. My concern is the debacle that's actually happening at Everton Club. No signings are coming in, apparently no more. And the players that we have signed, well, Dyche won't pick them because they've got Premier experience. Well, how are they supposed to get that experience if he's not picking them? We're having to rely on an old defence. Ashley Young, again, was sent off. Seamus Coleman, I think he's too old. He's past it, sort of thing. And I've got fit. Everybody seems to be buying round, and we need a right wing. We need updated defenders. It's shambolic, mate. It's shambolic, and Dyche needs to go. Why, and as for Chelsea, why if Chelsea pays Sterling's wages, send him to Everton.
Well,
Sean Dyche needs to go. Is that what you said there, Tony?
Honestly, mate, it does. It does. Honestly, I'm just tired of it, mate. Now,
look, Tony, you had a points deduction last season, and he still kept you up. Without that points deduction, you'd have finished in mid-table.
Look, what I'm saying. Look, mate. Look what's happening now. Look what's happening.
You've only had one game so far, Tony.
Yeah, look, mate, look. Everybody's buying. Everything are going down this season. They will get relegated this season on the remit. Southampton are buying. Ipswich are buying. All the teams are topping up their players, mate. I mean, and Dyche, he just plays the same old record time and time again, mate. Honestly, and I'm just.
But Tony, the reason for that is you haven't got any money, mate. No. You can't buy anybody because you haven't got any money.
Well, they brought in Jake O'Brien. They brought him from Lyon, and Ndiaye they brought him from Marseille. So they've done a little bit of business. But you're right, Tony. They need more, but there isn't a big amount of money to spend out.
Tony, thanks very much indeed for the call. Let's get some reaction, shall we, to this with the former Everton manager, Sam Allardyce. Morning, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Good morning. How are we?
Yeah, good. Very good, thanks. So there we go. Got an Everton fan on one game in saying Sean Dyche, he's got to go. He's not good enough. Which I think we'd all think is absolutely ludicrous. But what isn't ludicrous, Sam, is that Everton are in a bit of trouble, aren't they?
Big trouble, Jeff. Big trouble. I think that many times I've said it. That the money that's been invested, unfortunately, has long gone and all unfortunately lost. And I think that the only way forward for Everton, which will be what they're trying as best they possibly can to get the club moved on to somebody else, of course, because Farhad has decided that it's the right time to sell for somebody else to take over. And he's paid the penalty of a big investment that's been put into the club, but unfortunately hasn't brought the success the Everton fans all thought it would be. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, for years and years without any money, and then all of a sudden this huge amount of money comes along. It's about 700 million, I think, in total, and not a lot of improvement has happened, and a lot of managers in between that. So obviously the stability of the club needs to be brought in when the new guy takes over, whoever that new guy is. And of course a new stadium, whatever you say about Farhad, he's built him a new stadium which is going to be absolutely magnificent when it's finished in the end, but he's paying the penalty for that as well now.
Sam, look, they've sold Onana to Aston Villa for 50 million. Braithwaite could still move on before the end of the window. Calvert-Lewin's in his final year of his contract. No real solution looking like that can be sorted very quickly. So Everton have got their issues coming, in the next sort of year or so.
Well, yes. I mean, they overcame the points deduction last year, which was a bit of a miracle. But again, that was probably because the bottom three were the worst points total ever in the Premier League. I think that you could stay up with 32 points last year, which is the first time ever. So they didn't get lucky because Sean did a fantastic job keeping them up with the points deduction. But I think that it's constant with Everton now. Is it last 3-4 seasons? They're all thereabouts and scraping out of relegation zone with only 1 or 2 games to go. So Everton fans, I can understand the frustration, but it'll only depend on who comes in and who buys the club and what infrastructure they put into the club. and that will take time. There will be no quick fix when Everton gets sold. It'll be, if they want to bring success to the club, it will be a slow process. You won't be able to do it. Chelsea are trying it now and failing miserably in my eyes, because the infrastructure has been destroyed at Chelsea, and they're now buying players all over the place that cannot settle in and cannot perform to their level because they're not a team. They're 11 individuals playing every week at the moment.
But you mentioned Chelsea, Sam. Spencer's at Chelsea fan. He's just texted and said, I've just watched the unveiling of Conor Gallagher at Atletico Madrid, not telling me that he's regretting it. They'll treat him with all the respect that Chelsea didn't show him. Do you think, I mean, I know you managed him for a while, didn't you, at West Brom when he was on loan there. Do you think that the club treated Conor Gallagher with disrespect?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, there is no loyalty in this game, Jeff. You know, when a player wants to leave and he decides he wants to go, and everybody goes mad about where's his loyalty and where's his, you know, the club have looked after him well, and this club comes into him now, he wants to do a runner. Well, when the club wants to get rid of you, there is no mercy. You're gone. That's the end of it. And if you don't go, you get dumped down to the kids, and you get left what we used to call the mushroom treatment. That was kept in the dark, brought out now and again, and I can't say the next word, and then put back again. So it was one of those that you had to put up with if you were a player. But certainly that happens all over the country. But I mean, Everton is just is a crisis, but Chelsea could be a crisis in terms of the lack of unity at the club, the lack of camaraderie, the lack of knowing each other and building a squad that feels the atmosphere, that feels the love for Chelsea, feels the love for the fans, and wants to go out and play together and go and win. That's obviously going to be missed. That has to be built by the new manager. And of course, that's not an easy build when constantly players are coming in and going out. As it goes to Conor, I had him at West Brom when we were struggling at the bottom of the league all season, and he got picked every week. He was a 7 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 7. He was 19 at the time, by the way, facing up to the Premier League when we were getting beat nearly every week. And he stood up to it. He faced it head on, and he's got great ability. He's a great cog in the team. He really is a great cog in the team. He's not one you'd say that's outstanding, but his ability and his linking of his defensive side to linking the attacking side is very, very good indeed. And his enthusiasm and his work rate can be matched by nobody.
Sam, just briefly, Chelsea have got now 22 players with 6 years on their contract plus. That in itself sounds crazy.
Well, you try and get rid of them when you want to. That's the hard bit. If you don't like them and they don't fit into you and the new manager, they sit there, and when they sit there, they disturb the rest of the club. However you try and build a football club or a dressing room, you will have the boys that will disturb that, will have a grudge against the club, will have a grudge against you or the club because he's not being picked in the first team. There's a lot of egos there, big egos, and if they don't get picked, they will cause you problems. Yeah. And those problems will spread. You know, they will spread through the club, you know, like a bad apple in a barrel.
Hey, Sam, I know it's JJ Okocha. It was his birthday last week. He was a player, wasn't he?
Yeah. JJ Okocha. He was so good, Jeff, they named him twice.
Yeah. Was he the best player you've ever managed?
Yeah, I'd have to say so. I'm from a personality point of view, from a skill point of view, and from a team captain point of view, I would have to say yes. And I've had some world-class players in my time, by the way. But I have to say JJ was the one, smile on his face every day, showed his ability and his skills, captained the team, and you know, and thrilled everybody. You know, the entertainment value. You know, when we used to be called a long ball team, we had JJ Okocha in it, and some people were that thick. They still used to call us a long ball team. That's how thick they were. You know? He
was a brilliant entertainer. I watched some of his tricks and some of his goals back this week. Sam, we've run out of time. Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers,
pleasure, lads. Good to speak to you.
And you, Stuart, a loyal Royal says, hi guys, poor Premier clubs, try being a Reading season ticket holder. It is 9:45. We're back with more in a moment.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.